Welcome to Conference Made Simple. From planning to execution, we've got you covered. I'm your event lifecycle strategist, Rhonda A. White with Conference Architect. Conference Made Simple is your go-to source channel on YouTube for all things regarding you having a successful event. This month's segment, we are focused on the 5 mistakes to avoid in conference planning. Let me put it to you another way. We're focused on the 5 things you need to do so that you can avoid that 100K error. Welcome back to the channel this week. So last week we talked about mistake number 1, right? And we talked about setting those clear objectives and those measurements for success. This week we're going to talk about mistake number 2, underestimating that conference budget. It is a common challenge that can create unexpected stresses during planning processes, but with the right strategies, you can keep your finances in track and make your event successful without breaking the bank. So let's dive into it. So first of all, I want you to identify what those pain points are. Because most people, you guys have already planned an event before. This is not your first rodeo. And for those of you who this is your first rodeo, make sure that you're paying attention, get your notepad out, and let's take some notes, right? So the pain points. So the pain point is, one, is you don't sit down and realistically look at your budget and say, what can I allocate to my event budget from out of my current resources that I have? And those resources can be not just money, but it also go be things that you already have. Like, I already have a graphic designer on staff that gets paid. I ain't got to worry about that cost, right? Maybe you have a connection with a television station or some kind of marketing firm, and you ain't got to worry about that cost, right? So look at what you already have that help you with your resources and what you're willing to allocate within your already constructions without having to have those extra costs. First of all. Second of all, I'm going to tell you this: venue. Everybody wants to get that 5-star beautiful venue. Well, that 5-star beautiful venue costs coins, y'all. There's a cost to that. And so I say, if this is your first or second event and you're still building up your audience, we don't have to get that. There are so many great venues that you can use. There's outside sources, there's hotels, smaller hotels that you can use that can keep you inside your budget, right? So that as an event facilitator, you're not just focused on the big picture costs, but you're also looking at all the costs, right? So when these unplanned expenses come up, they can stretch your budget thin, forcing you to cut in other areas that can affect your attendance engagement. And that's not what we want to happen. So the challenge here is, how do I come up with a budget and stay within that budget, right? And still have the type of event that I envision, that I want to see? It's so easy. So let's talk about that comprehensive budget, how you can avoid it. There's a resolution to it. It all starts with a realistic budget thing. So for venue, for instance, so maybe you say, I want to allocate $30,000 for my event this year. And so how am I going to take that? You can break it down into percentages, or you can break it down to actual cost. And so you can say, well, I know that for the venue and for AV, I'm going to eat up a good 35 to 40% of my budget just on that alone. Then you got to look at transportation. You got to look at speakers. You know, if you are paying speakers, especially your keynote, what that cost is and what all is entailed with that. There's travel. There may be an airline ticket. There may be hotel stay. There may be food. On top of the other things that you want to get, your graphic design, badges for your attendees, my stage. What am I decorating my stage with? Do I want anything on my table? for decorations, right? Am I hiring an event team? Then I got the AV team I need to hire. Do I want a disc jockey? Do I want a photographer, a videographer, a makeup artist, a stylist, right? All of those little costs that adds up very, very quickly. And what materials and resources am I providing a program to my people, right? Do I need to print out my credit card authorization form? All of those things add up. And so when you're looking at your budget, I need you to think about every potential little thing and really think about the cost. And don't just plug in a number, go do your research. Or you can hire an event management company like Conference Architect to help you with that. So I want to tell you this. Be sure to set aside a contingency fund as well when you are planning for that budget. Usually around 10 to 20% of your total budget for those last minute things that may come up. And these will cover those unexpected expenses. Another tip is to use budget software or templates that can help you track every dollar. I have one, guys. Say hello, drop in my inbox and ask me for it. And I'll give it to you for free. It'll be a free download for you. If you want it, you got to tell me, Rhonda, send me that budget template, and I will send it to you. Okay? So that way you can prevent financial surprises, right? You need a precision impact for proper budgeting. Precision impact. You guys hear me? For proper budget. A well-planned budget will give you more negotiating power. So let me give you, for instance, I have a client new client who says, my budget for my whole conference is $25K. I said, okay. And she wanted to be in a high area. I said, okay, a very prominent high area in the state that she lives in. And then the cost for hiring me was way, way low. And so I just told her, well, honey, here's my starting cost. And it's way lower than what you got on your budget here. And but I appreciate you starting a budget, but let's see what we can do. And I asked her, why did she want to be in that area? And she told me why. I said, well, I have some other options. And so what ended up happening, I gave her time to discuss it with her spouse, and because my cost wasn't going to change. And so she came back. She did hire me. So my job was, here's the minimum, here's the maximum. This is where we're going to try to stay at. Because I appreciate the budget, but the cost for AV, the cost for this wasn't a realistic cost. But let me go in here and let me work my magic, right? So needless to say, the cost that she had, we beat the cost for the venue because relationships matters. Relationship matters. And I happen to be in a relationship with a venue that I have done a lot of events with. And so in that relationship, that gave me some negotiating power right there, right? But I want to tell you, when you set clear limits and prioritize your spending, you're able to keep things on track and prevent those budget pitfalls and prevent going over budget. So let's talk about this mistake number 2, underestimating the budget. Sometimes we have to make an adjustment. Sometimes we have to make an adjustment, and we may not be able to be where we want to be for this particular event, but what's more important? What's more important is the people that you're called to serve. What's more important is that you're giving them the assignment that you have, that you're fulfilling your assignment. How you fulfill your assignment, it does matter, but it doesn't have to break the bank. So I sent her to the other venue. She was like, oh my gosh, this is extremely nice. Yes. But it keeps us in budget. So stop trying to keep up with the Joneses and the Smiths, right? And let's do you. Let's get you there. Because I promise you, the Joneses and the Smiths started off small as well. And sometimes it's not about having this 200 attendees, because you're looking at money. So we stop chasing money and we begin to chase our purpose, baby. That there, I just gave you a mouthful. Stop chasing money and chase your purpose. You would see that you lack nothing. And the same visions and goals that you have chasing purpose is going to exceed the goals and visions you had chasing money. And that's where your budget is tied into that, because then we ain't trying to go to the Ritz-Carlton and we know that we're not Ritz-Carlton budget yet. yet. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. So I want you to think about how you're underestimating your budget. What is it that you think costs this and it could be costing more? And then how can you streamline it? Because we want to make sure that we're setting a realistic budget, right? I would love to hear from you. Like, what's been your biggest challenge when you have come to budgeting for your event? I want you to share your experience in the comments. And don't forget to tune in next week where we'll be covering mistake number 3 and knowing that audience, okay, and understanding what their needs, right? And what it is you need to do for your next conference to take it to the next level. Now, if this has been very helpful to you, I want you to subscribe to this channel. I want you to invite people to the channel. Go follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, social media, y'all. Just go do the thing and follow us, right? And if you got any questions, or just drop them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer any questions. And if you want that budget template, put budget template in the comments. Until next time, see you later.